I, Acting Captain Davan, hereby relinquish command of Live Long and Podcast to Captain Dave Mater with all the rights and privileges thereto.
Well, I relieve you, sir.
I stand relieved.
This podcast is now under my command.
Well,
Captain.
You know what? I think I took care of her pretty well. You know, she might even be a little bit better than when you left her.
I think there's a good chance of that. Hello and good evening for this Thursday, August 3rd, 2023. We have watched the 9th episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 2, Episode 9, titled Subspace Rhapsody. But we're just getting started here on Live Long and Podcast, a live stream here on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch, or you might be listening to us on the audio version at some point in the future. And we're going to break down this episode tonight, the first fully musical episode of Star Trek, any Star Trek, not just Strange New Worlds. We're going to talk all about it. We're going a little early here tonight because I have a playoff hockey game at 9 o'clock tonight, so we're fitting this in. But it kind of works out.
Get it done.
Get it done.
Get it done, Dave.
You got it, Jellico. Spoiler alert. We are going to be spoiling this episode, spoiling the songs and all of the other things that come with it. And with that said,
a lot of the songs spoiled themselves.
A lot of the songs did. Yeah. Okay. So let's dive in, Davan. Like this week,
I see the little silhouette of a ship.
Scaramouche. Or no. I need some kind of Klingon word. Kalish. Yeah. Okay. So a bunch of singing going on here. Okay. I guess my first question, Davan, how do you feel about musicals in general coming into this?
They're not my favorite, but every now and then one really surprised me. Like I loved Hamilton.
Right. Yeah, me too.
Because basically a musical for me hinges because you're not there, at least I don't think, to a musical for the acting. Like it's given second billing to the music, and so it's a different style of acting. It's not like a deep dramatic, like. I couldn't imagine ever like shedding a tear of the drama of a musical myself.
Oh, I don't know. I think I could, but
maybe. But for me, it all hinges on the music and the quality of the music.
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton, the music was phenomenal.
Yes.
So it was a phenomenal musical, like
right.
The best music I've ever heard in a musical, Hamilton. So I love it.
Right.
Even though it's not like a theme necessarily that I was super interested in, I like history and everything, but
yeah, well, I would say I am a fan of musicals, and maybe a bit more than the average guy. And I'd say like I agree Hamilton is one of the best I've seen in recent years. But there, I think I go back to Rent, which is a show I really have a lot of affection for. Maybe one of the first musicals I really came to fall in love with, and the music there is strong. And other shows like Dreamgirls and Miss Saigon, and there's so many that I really like. So I think I'm well positioned to critique this episode as a fan of musicals and as a fan of Star Trek. And so
I'll critique this episode as a fan of Star Trek and a musician.
And as a musician. So I think we're well poised. I think we got a good team here to look at this whole thing. We knew that, I think if you're not a fan of musicals at all, and you're completely turned off by them, I think this episode will not work for you. And if it's just not your thing, Jody, definitely Jody. I don't think he likes musicals at all. Actually,
6 Easter night something, I think we got the message from Jody. It's like, it was another waste of time.
He said it was for the first 7 minutes. I think that's probably the mark when
the first 7 minutes was very good.
Yeah, I liked it. It was good setup.
But so yeah, I guess the last of my opening thoughts is just like the music for me didn't work. One song for me was a fair bit better than the rest of them, but the rest of them just sounded like AI music. Like it's just generic, churned out. Like if you said, hey, AI, write me like a modern pop ballad, this is what they would churn out. And it, like, the music lost me on every single song. It was just
every song
except for the chapel song. It was the best one by far, I thought.
Yeah. Okay. And so I'd
the
say
Spock
that
one that kind of like mirrored that one was probably the second best.
the one where he's like, okay. So a couple things with this. Yeah, I agree that generally, like the music in this episode, not the best. It's like I wouldn't put like for a single
I
episode.
assume that's what Taylor Swift sounds like. I've never heard a Taylor Swift.
No,
song,
her
but I
songs are
assume that's
catchier.
it. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, like this was lacking in a catchiness. I think most of these tunes, they were very generic. They didn't the bridges between some of the verses were kind of clumsy, and they were just way too long. And I think they wanted to give almost everybody in this cast like their own solo song, with the exception of maybe Mbenga. I think he's like the only member of the main cast who doesn't.
He just doesn't have a voice. He doesn't hardly has a voice at all, and he even says that I don't like to sing.
I don't sing, and he does sing a couple like chorus parts here and there.
I don't want to be turned into a rabbit either.
Oh, that was funny. Yeah, I doubt we will be turned into buddies. I was meaning to pull that as a sound clip. I forgot. That was a great one. But that's one. Yeah. So there's some good comedy in the episode, and I still like the characters, and I guess that this is really an Uhura episode more than anybody's. It's kind of really centered on her.
This has been the Uhura season, I think we can say, can't we? It started off sort of like the La'an season, but it really shifted to the Uhura season.
Yeah, it's a lot of Uhura, and speaking of La'an, a lot of La'an and Kirk in this as well.
She's actually a singer, so her vocals were very strong. It's just like her song was so boring and generic. It was.
I pulled like my favorite part of the song. Where is it?
Did you not agree the Chapel song was easily the best one?
No, I don't think it was the best one.
Okay, but did you like the last one? Or that? Oh, you know what else was strong? The opening number.
The opening number was good. That was called "All Systems Are Functioning" or something.
The one
here it is.
Pelia started.
All systems stable. All systems stable. All systems stable.
Yeah, that one was okay.
All systems stable. All systems stable. All systems stable. All systems stable. But why are we singing?
That's the question.
So I liked that, and then I liked the fact that they sang the opening credits. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, like the little acapella, that was nice.
So that's when I sent the message. I was just like, oh, I'm in, and then the music just got kind of bad for me. But like the thing about this episode is it's still gonna get a decently high mark for me because I like a lot of the story beats. I like that fact that should I spoil something? Should we just go through?
Oh yeah, it's all spoilers. Yeah, we're talking. Right. So whatever you want to go into first.
They end a lot of the things I wasn't digging about the show. Like they're ending the Kirk La'an relationship in this episode because Kirk's just like, hey, I have this other lady and she's pregnant. So done with that. I hated that relationship. Not that they didn't have chemistry, but it causes too many problems with canon and it's not worth it. So they ended that, and they also ended the Chapel Spock relationship. Like they ended all these stupid relationship dramas in the show, all in one go here in this musical episode. I'm here for that.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, with you there.
And they planted. Well, I don't know if they did, but how about this for an idea? Like the relationship that would have actually been interesting to explore on this ship in this timeline. Like maybe they can do it next season or something. Is if they're gonna have to do a romantic relationship, it's not with Khan and Kirk, it's friggin' Uhura and Scotty, because they always had that sort of unspoken thing.
Kirk and so Scotty and Uhura.
Yeah, like if they could introduce him after Pelia and have like him and Uhura really hit it off, because they always had a bit of an unspoken thing in the show and in the movies. Where he even
they kind of like almost felt like they were kind of maybe more than friends at some points. I thought so too.
Yeah, exactly. So that one would be more interesting.
I'm just gonna see if I can start a slideshow here. Will this work? Oh, I'm not sure if that's.
But yeah, I think they should have they shouldn't have had AI write all these tunes and actually like made it more unique. Like do a funk tune, and then do like a bluesy tune, and then do like your like super like kind of stagey show tune, and like mix it up. Or like kind of pick a theme and go with it. Make them all funky. But like just to do this generic, hey, we're doing show tunes.
Yeah, well, as a work of science fiction, how do you judge this episode? You know,
I like some things because, so first of all, I didn't mind the conceit of why they started to sing, with this fold in space, in the harmonics and the resonance and all. Like it's ridiculous, but then they even quote or like evoke the Heisenberg compensator. And in Star Trek, if you're just gonna feed us a bunch of bullshit anyway, evoke the Heisenberg compensator because it's the load.
It's like the MacGuffin of all MacGuffins.
It's the one that makes no scientific sense at all. In fact, they don't even try. It's just like
it compensates for Heisenbergs. Clearly,
the classic line is they ask. I think it was Okuda. They ask him, just like, how does the Heisenberg compensator work? And he says, very well, thank you.
So it's just one of those magic things that science fiction has to kind of go
because
along with.
Heisenberg, I believe it's the thing that suggests just the sheer amount of power you need to go at those speeds, like beyond light speeds. The Heisenberg compensator compensates for that, so you can have like a not solar system amount of power to power this kind of operation, you know.
Oh, I see. So because the amount of to go that fast would actually take more energy than is actually feasible.
Oh wait, or is the Heisenberg compensator the MacGuffin in the transporters?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm so confused.
I'll be right back.
What?
So yeah, I'm sorry, I got a baby crying. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. I'm not used to talking on my own here as much as maybe Jaemeel would be. Yeah, the music was okay. We can listen the whole. I don't know where to start here. Maybe this like La'an song, which Davan said was kind of boring, although I thought she sang it well.
It might be time to change my paradigm. If only I can let go of the wheel. My fear replaced with total faith. I'm fiercely free and free. Flying blind.
Yeah, like it's very generic. It's flying blind, and it's like these lyrics could be written for not just for this episode. It's just kind of for anything. The baby been okay? Okay.
Yeah, the baby has a boob now.
Has a boob?
Has a boob.
Booby?
Booby. That's how you feed a baby. I know it's been a while for you.
Yeah, it's a long time.
But there's boobs involved.
Both
sometimes. In the making and the feeding of babies.
Yes. Okay, so I was just saying, I just played the little clip there from La'an's like solo song, the Flying Blind one, and I was just like listening to
the super ballady one.
Yeah, it's like, it's just like
not for me.
Maybe I should change my disposition. Her song, she's maybe the strongest.
Yeah, she is, and she's really good at like loungy kind of stuff. She has a very loungy voice. Like they should have gave her a sweet kind of swinging loungy tune.
But that wouldn't fit her story. The story they wanted to tell in this was that she's still hung up for alternate timeline Kirk that went.
You can do that with a good song. You can do that with a good song. But,
you can do that with a good song. Yeah, I just think that the songwriting in this was lacking. I think that these songs were way too long, most of them.
It did mess with the flow of the episode.
Yeah, they felt very, very self-pitying almost. Like, I don't know, some of them, like, just...
And it sort of met my prediction in the sense that I felt like this was just going to feel like a throw-in episode to make up for the fact that they didn't have much Pike to work with and whatever else. But it felt cobbled together and thrown together because clearly they could have done better music with, like, another pass. Do another pass on those tunes and make them interesting
and make them stronger. Okay, we talked about Hamilton, right? And we covered that album with Eamon on his podcast On Track, and so that first song in Hamilton is called Alexander Hamilton. Like they wrote that for
Alexander Hamilton,
right?
Hamilton.
They wrote that one number. It took them a whole year to get it perfect. And then they had to write like 20 or 35 other songs after that song, but I guess it probably went a little faster after they kind of figured out what the feel was and what the tempo and all these things that they wanted to go with. But and I get this is one single episode of a season, and it's not a movie, and they're not going to put that kind of money into it. But
look, I don't want to like talk out of school or toot our own horns, but your plain simple tailors could have came up with better tunes for this.
Well, I believe you. I think and if you're gonna do it, I just wish you'd do it a little better, because like Jane watched it. She's a big fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show. I don't know if
that musical episode's not good either.
It's not good either, but it's better than this.
It is better than this.
Yeah,
the music anyway.
The music, like, there's not too many episodes of some, like, I think of like Community had a really good musical episode, and like it's hard to do them really well, I find.
There's a couple more,
like Simpsons has had various versions, like various, like even just one song in the episode, but
they have good tunes though. Simpsons comes,
they're all good, like Monorail and whatever, and like all these great songs that they would put
because they have actual instruments as well. Like there's no,
or they're just a parody of some other song.
These are just computer generated tunes. Like there's no actual instrument. You can't be like, oh, that's a guitar, that's a cello, that's a horn.
All these are AI.
There's none of that. I don't know if they're AI, but they're just done on a program. Like there's no real instruments being played here that I can tell. Like it's just this generic kind of wave of sound and tone.
Yeah.
Like maybe somebody did it on like a synth keyboard or something like that, but there's no strings or woodwinds or anything to be had here. Like,
right. Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying too.
Like back in the day when like in the TNG era when there was like a Star Trek orchestra. Like they had an orchestra on like contract, like for the theme and for a lot of the music during the episodes. That's what they needed here.
They did need that
orchestra
here
to play these tunes.
Yeah, I just think like in terms of like what they wanted to give each character, a little odd. I think they thought like, okay, we got Christina Chong. She's already a big singer. Let's give her this huge song that fits her story. But the song was just like could have been on any of her albums. It's not a song that's really feels like it's about Star Trek at all.
No.
And I'd like the first number. I'm just trying to remember all of the songs that come up.
There's the first number, then there's hers, and then it's not Chapel. Oh no, then it's number 1 in Kirk's, right?
I'm just trying to get
number 1 is very funny in this episode, and I'm loving her character. See, I don't understand. Here's our like obligatory Discovery slag for the episode, but I don't understand how they made this show full of such likable characters, and then they made Discovery a show full of such unlikable characters. I don't understand. Like, it took
them the better part of 6 or 7 years just to figure out the formula they wanted. So Discovery was kind of almost like
every episode. I love the members of this crew more. They stand out more in their humor, in their uniqueness. Like she's so funny. She's just like, yeah, but you walked in like on fire, make me sweat. Just make me sweat.
Made me sweat. You're making me sweat. Yeah, like I agree. Like,
it's so funny.
The other thing we're finding out is that they're kind of filling in some story gaps here with the backstory. Okay, so I'm guessing that this love story or this failed love story here with Chapel and Spock
it's over.
It looks like it's over. He's the ex. That was his song, right? And that
was the second best song.
It's not even that good. And
no, it's not. It's really not.
And so the storyline here is that a couple episodes ago, Brad Boimler showed up from the future and kind of spoiled. He spoiled the future to Chapel that Spock doesn't end up marrying you and becoming Mr. Emotional Happy Man. He's destined to be Mr. Logical Vulcan guy who's going to reunify the Vulcans and the Romulans and do all this other political work and save the galaxy and whatever, and defeat Khan and save the Enterprise. But so she's going to take this fellowship between season 2 and 3, I guess.
Do you think that's actually gonna between the seasons? Yeah,
I think that she will. Yeah. And so Spock's heart will be broken, and he's going to turn fully to his Vulcan side, fully to his logical side, and become the Spock that we know.
That would be such an interesting character turn for him. Like, because you and I have, especially you, I think, have mentioned how it doesn't seem like the same Spock
and the same Chapel.
What was Chapel before? Not much.
Not much.
They didn't let the women talk much in that show. But like, it would be interesting to see what his portrayal would be in trying to do a more Vulcan Spock.
Like, I think that's
very interesting.
I think that's part of the one. I think the thing they decided they wanted to do with the show was kind of say, like, well, because everyone always asked for years, like, why does Spock smile in that original pilot in the
because they didn't know what he was.
They didn't know yet, but they want to almost. But I feel like they wanted to explain that in canon.
Yeah.
And I think that they're like, well, what if we had this love triangle thing with T'Pring and Chapel 10 years prior to those episodes in the original series? It sure fills in a lot of story here. Like just like it does with Uhura, like with Kirk now. Apparently Kirk was long before he joined the crew of the Enterprise. He was here every other weekend.
Oh my God. I was going to comment on that too. It's just like, my God, Kirk again. Like, and they're getting clunky. The reasons for bringing him on the ship constantly are getting clunkier and clunkier. Next time it's just going to be like, hey, he forgot he was here and he's still here. He thought he was on his other ship, and look, it's Kirk.
Yeah, he's just here all the time. He's working with Pike and with Spock. Again, like in the original series, in the Menagerie, Kirk says he kind of knows Pike. They
met him once, doesn't he say?
That they cross paths, I guess, when he took over the Enterprise and whatever. But now I'm like, that line doesn't make a lot of sense, because clearly Kirk and Pike were doing missions together.
He's shadowing him in this one, isn't he? He's
technically shadowing number one.
Shadowing number one,
because he's learning to become a first officer of the Farragut. That's the in story.
Right, he just got his promotion.
Right. He's now Lieutenant Commander Spock or Kirk. I'm sorry. And he's learning the ropes. So he's here to puzzle and okay, I'm just kind of going through all of these slides, but. Yeah, he's just here. I did like this line here with Kirk was like, that was a great explanation, Mr. Spock. I almost understood what you were saying. There are some times when this Paul Wesley really does nail the Shatner and the Kirk energy.
He gets the energy. It's like the right amount of seriousness and sarcasm.
It's like sometimes earnest, sometimes sarcastic, sometimes playful. I
really like his portrayal.
Yeah, that's what you have to be kind of nuanced to do Kirk right,
And if you have to have Kirk here every episode, it's the Kirk Spock dynamic. I'd like to see them explore that early Kirk Spock dynamic.
Yeah, and I imagine that they'll want to like ramp that up, especially as they head towards the end of this show, where it would kick off into the next show, is because in the original series they're already kind of together, and that's really not kind of shown. It's not shown Kirk taking command of the Enterprise, so all of that can take place in this episode or in this show at some point down the road. A couple shots here of Kirk working in that tube thing, like the conduit. I thought were kind of some moments, but in general, the song here between Kirk and Una. Meh. This is a very forgettable song. I don't think Rebecca Romaine's that strong of a singer. I'm sorry.
No.
One thing I did notice here
most of this crew isn't. That's the thing. Very noticeable. Uhura and La'an are quite good, and the rest of them aren't strong.
Pike's not bad. He's not the best either, but I think he's serviceable.
He just has a good voice.
And actually, Ethan Pack's Spock is
actually yes. I forgot about him. He was good.
I also want to mention that in this episode,
Chapel actually wasn't. I'm taking back everything I said. Chapel's an okay singer too.
She's an okay singer.
But I mean, they're not the people you'd put in charge of leading a song,
right? And I don't think
in a particular.
I imagine some of these actors have done musical theater, and some of them haven't, and whatever.
And certainly, La'an can sing.
Certainly, yeah, but she's one of 8 people on this cast, right? So they got to fill it in. One thing I did want to mention:
auto-tune was everybody's friend. Okay?
Oh yeah.
Where
Christine and Sean
boldly
needed
go where auto-tune has never gone before is what they should have called.
Yeah, well, I think Rebecca Romaine maybe had the most. I just want to mention that we have the men wearing the skirts too, the skants in this. This,
I like that. I like this too. See, like there's a lot of stuff in this episode I like. I like the fact that like when the singing overcomes a couple of people, like the other people just kind of walk by them like they're weirdos.
Yeah, there's some
what are you doing? Like, yeah.
There's some fun bits in here. I guess like this was probably fun for them to film it. Yeah, I
bet.
And all that. And it comes up the
And I was all in for it. It lost me with the really bad and long tunes. I wanted them to be better, and if they were better, they could be that length. But they were
Lon's looking at the watch from from Toronto, or no, wasn't it from Vermont or something that they brought to Toronto?
Pelia was in Vermont.
Yeah, Pelia was in Vermont. Speaking of Pelia. Like, we're in episode 9 here, and they've barely used Carol Kane in this whole season. So I don't get it. Like, she's in this episode a little.
Maybe she had Pike's baby, and that's why they're both gone.
Maybe
they're together in real life.
I love this in the flashbacks, Davan. Just remember when there was a hotel room in Toronto, and we were in love with the alternate Kirk?
I'm glad it's over. But it is funny to get the Carol Marcus nod there.
The Carol Marcus nod, yeah. I think that's interesting, and I think that that's maybe something they do need to do with this show, is because when Spock sees Carol Marcus in Wrath of Khan, he knows who she is, right?
Yeah.
And so that was always part of the a question that people would ask after Wrath of Khan is like, well, where does Spock know her from exactly, and how, and whatever.
I think we'll see her.
We'll see a lot more of that coming up, yeah. But yeah, like
because clearly Kirk's here to stay. Like he's not gonna go off on some other fleet. Like,
he's on the Farragut supposedly. He apparently sits. He's on that ship, but
I think the Farragut is just one of the shuttles of the Enterprise.
I think you might be right, because I think Kirk is more on this show more than Peli is, and she's supposed to be the chief engineer.
More than Pike.
More than Pike even. Yeah. Anyway, so she sings her sad song here, Lon, and then she tells Pike, this is the security threat. We're going to get way too honest. We're going to give away information. She might have a point. But Pike's a little dismissive of it. And just then, they got the Kirk brothers working on fixing the transporter at one point here. I do like when they give some of these Kirk brothers some scenes, too. I think that they have kind of a fun dynamic.
Oh, the Heisenberg compensator compensates for the uncertainty principle. My bad, I was wrong.
Of course
earlier.
It does.
So the fact that you cannot predict the position of any particle at any given time, the Heisenberg compensator takes care of that.
Well, you need one of those.
You definitely do.
So, I was just saying about the Kirk brothers, like their little sibling rivalry stuff that they throw into the show. Is it working for you?
Yeah, that is. I love Sam Kirk. Sam Kirk is amazing.
Just throwing things. It's
He's like, she was clearly talking to me. She's like, no, she was talking to me. She's like, you don't even work here.
You don't even work here.
He's like, you're a xenoanthropologist. You're not supposed to be here.
I do like it. It's making his Sam Kirk's future death, which we know is coming, a little more sadder each time they do more of this. Right?
It really is. It's definitely a weight hanging over it all. I think about it, like when he's doing stuff too. I'm like, yeah.
Erica was wearing the scant in this one too. She was wearing the skirt.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, she normally doesn't do that, but she was. Okay, and so this is comes up the part here where there's like the conversation between Battelle, who we find out his name is Marie. She's got her first name now, Captain Marie Battelle, of course, Pike's girlfriend from the USS Cayuga. Part-time JAG officer.
Lawyer.
Captain / lawyer. Part-time JAG officer, part-time starship captain. It's they go hand in hand. But
build a statue of her. That's a lot of work.
We find out that this is almost like a disease here in this episode, and it gets kind of makes sense science fiction wise. It's spread through over subspace communications, so it kind of makes sense that it would be a little bit more widespread. And they're like, this is a private conversation.
This is a private conversation.
A private conversation.
About our frustration.
About our frustration.
This is a private conversation.
private conversation.
About our frustration.
A private conversation.
We must contain it. We must restrain it.
It's okay. That's not a bad tune.
Well, I guess Murphy. Yeah, that one's not the worst one. Murphy's loving it so far.
I think that little bit there. This is a private conversation. That's not a bad. There's you can build on that, and I think there's something catchy there. It's maybe one of the only catchy tunes in the whole thing.
That one in the chapel one, they at least tried to add some jazz to the tune. Like it was such generic music. But
the chapel one, does that come next?
And they added a little more choreography. That's another thing I thought was missing. I was expecting way more choreography,
more dance numbers.
For example, the Christina Chong number. She's just standing still. She's just standing.
She walks to the bed.
For like 3 minutes. She walks to the bed in
sits
like
on the
4
bed.
minutes.
It's her song.
Especially these pictures, like our background here, where like from the previews where everyone's dancing and stuff. I was expecting that the whole time.
We don't get a ton of that.
Just in the chapel number.
Well, there's like duets and stuff. Like there's this. We talked about the Kirk and Uno dance one in the corridor, and then there's this number here between La'an and Una that comes.
They
next.
needed to hire Gates McFadden. Gates would have came in and choreographed the shit out of this. Like if they'd have just thrown freaking give so freaking.
That's true.
No, it was like Gates McFadden. She would have killed this.
She was like the choreographer for some huge shows, like Labyrinth, and all kinds of things.
She was huge in that.
She got asked about Jim Henson on an interview recently. They're like, he got the distinct impression she did not like Jim Henson.
I got that
Frank Oz was amazing. I love Frank Oz.
How was it like working with Jim Henson? I love Frank Oz.
Frank Oz.
But that's what it needed. Seriously, it just needed Gates McFadden and who like some musicians and stuff.
You can't have Gates McFadden. You can't have choreography with the zero gravity here. That's
why. Tim Russ and Frakes to do the music.
Yeah, like these songs. Here Pike looking at the vacation spots,
or the Star Trek band, the crooners. Like you get Max Grodenchik in there, and like these guys know how to.
Damar,
Jeffrey Combs, and Damar. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Robot says, I'm sure Davan loved this episode and doesn't have a bad thing to say about this episode.
Well, actually, he kind of did. Well, nothing. I don't even think you said anything bad. You're just like, it's kind of mediocre,
kind of boring. I just don't like the music.
The music's kind of forgettable. Most of it.
I've already forgotten all of it. I know I like the chapel one the best, but I couldn't tell you anything about it.
But there is some like some stakes to this where they're like it's going to destroy the entire Federation and maybe half of the Klingon Empire if it spreads. So they have to say they can't just let this go. This is not just whatever.
No.
You can also see here on this little map here. I'm going to maybe go a little bigger here just for a second, as you can see. But it says that the Cayuga is like down here. Oh, you see that? The Cayuga was all the way down here. The Farragut very near the Enterprise. The Republic is over here.
Oh, yes.
And the Congo or something over there. Anyway, just want to go through that. But to the other format. Oh, so the Klingon. I love when the Klingon guy called here, or they get the Klingons, and they realize that this.
I knew the Klingons were gonna sing at some point.
But this is this is not the part where they sing. This is just when he's just so upset to have to be singing at all.
We have located the abominable source of our dishonor. Destroy it immediately.
Yeah, they're not happy about it.
They're not happy about
but Klingons love to sing. Well,
Worf does.
Yeah, Worf does.
I don't know if all Klingons do. Maybe not the warrior cast.
Destroying a ship. Yeah.
Although Martok liked to sing too, so I think Okay, we got to the part of the episode where we're in the chapel number. Play a little bit of it here. Sky's the limit.
I worked so hard for this, and now the fellowship sees me as one of their own. The sky is the limit, my future is infinite with possibility.
So just a little loungier than the other tunes, just a little bit more interesting, and some horns. So
it's okay. It's okay.
I mean, they're fake. Those aren't real horns. It's fake computer horns.
It's all computer generated, right?
Oh, it has to be. It's like, or other. It's just way over processed. If not, it's just. It's not nothing I'd listen to.
Was she auto-tuned? Do you think, Chapel?
They were all auto-tuned.
They were all auto-tuned. Even Uhura?
Yeah.
But not Christina Chong.
Yeah, her too.
You think her too? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this number I didn't like it because this is all about like she just asked Spock if you're like, are you leaving the ship and why didn't you tell me about you getting this fellowship? And like all these other friends are just partying around and while Spock is like sad and walking away.
Yeah.
Kind of felt kind of weird.
Well, like she dumps him in a song.
She kind of dumps him in a song. Yeah.
And he's just like, oh. Like that's the thing about this, like, and I don't know if I like this element of the episode either. Like the one thing they try to like, I always feel like they're trying to force like 10% discovery into this show. They're like, look, we have this perfect Star Trek show, but we need to put 10% of just needless relationship drama into it. And this is it. Like this is where they can just like do 90% relationship drama and get away with it. Like this would have made a better Discovery episode. I don't know if they have as good as singers, but Discovery should have probably done a musical. But
I don't know. I think
maybe it doesn't match.
Sidney
the tone
Martin
of
Green
that
can
show.
sing, but I don't really know. Anyway, yeah. So that song.
I mean, we know No, never mind. I was thinking of Alan Tudyk, not Anthony Rapp.
So the whole reveal here, so the next scene was Lon talking to Kirk, telling her about the alternate. Remember, I was in Toronto with you in an alternate timeline, but it wasn't you, and we fell in love, and she kind of spills the beans to him, even though she's not supposed to, and he's kind of like flattered, but he kind of lets her down, says, "I'm kind of in a relationship, and I'm having a baby with that person." Yeah. So he tells her, and that's kind of awkward, and so I think that kind of puts an end to this. Will they? Won't they? With Kirk and Lon.
And I'm happy about that. Happy. And like maybe he doesn't even need. Like I like this Kirk, but I just don't think he needs to be in this show so much.
I don't think he needs to be in this relationship with her. You know, like I think that you need to sort of write this out because obviously he doesn't end up with her. We already know that. So it's they have to end if they do get together. They like kind of like Chapel and Spock. You have to end it at some point. You know, because there's nothing after that in the storyline. Anyway, so there's way too many screenshots of this. Okay, and then there's the next scene is your Uhura talking to Spock, kind of like "Are you okay, man? Did she break your heart?" And he's kind of like, "Yes." This is his song, "I Am the X," where he decides he's got to cut himself off from emotion, and this was a foolish endeavor. And I was like, maybe like story wise, this is maybe one of the better parts of the episode, and just kind of giving Spock this motivation to want to not get close to anybody. You know, from this point on, emotionally speaking, you know, and not letting his human side in as much because really it was because he was fully human temporarily from that accident that allowed him to get together with Chabo in the first place, you know? So him rejecting that side of him makes a little more sense, you know, in story.
Strangely enough, this episode does a lot of good work for the show. Yeah.
I think the next song is Uhura's. It's her longer song here. It's called
very long.
It's called "I Keep Us Connected." Okay, the first half of the song complete trash. Okay, and it finishes pretty strong. Just like I think it's got some catchiness to it.
I keep us connected.
It's not bad.
I keep us connected.
I mean, see, that's her that's the line there. That
connected. Yeah.
The lack of strength of her voice is apparent.
It sounds like she's struggling on that note a bit. Yes, I agree. But
say hi to Goddaughter.
Hello, Goddaughter. This is Godfather.
It's Godfather.
Godfather.
You're just Godfather. The
Godfather. This is our first on-screen meeting, so this is good.
Oh, this is good.
I keep us connected, baby Ursula.
Oh jeez. Oh no, she's puking.
Okay. She's puking. Yeah.
She
doesn't like this musical either.
Baby pukes.
I keep us connected.
Yeah, I know it wasn't that bad, honey. Come on. She's a little critical. She's kind of critical. They're critical at this age. 7 days or whatever it is. 7 days.
7 days? No, she's like 2 weeks now, isn't she?
No.
Was she born
She's
on,
7 days old, right?
No.
How old is she?
She's almost 2 weeks old.
Oh, yeah. She was born on the 22nd.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, never mind. Time flies. I'm sleep deprived. Hi, honey.
No problem. Hey, you're going to be for a while. Okay, so they come up with this plan that they're going to they need a big musical number to ramp up the musical energy in order to save the day. That's kind of like the big plot. The thing they pitch here to Pike, and I think that it's also exacerbated by the fact that the Klingons are coming to blow the thing up and destroy everybody and kill everybody in the process because they need to suss out their dishonor. So Pike, I guess the moment in this scene is that Pike believes in Uhura. He believes in her, and he's like, "You're all right, Uhura. You can do it. You're one of the best people on my crew," which she is. And so she gives the little rousing speech here to the crew, like, "Hey, it's me, the communications ensign," and
my favorite scene actually in this whole episode might have been the first scene where she's just doing her.
She's just being switchboard.
Yeah,
because
intense, and at the end she's just like,
yeah, I know. I was like,
everyone's just like, Uhura, tell me this. Uhura, tell me this. Hey, Uhura. Like, yeah.
Well, I think I think that sometimes there was this understanding that like the communications officer might not have a lot to do, but I think that they're like them showing that the communications officer is very important, not only in just translating things and whatever, but just keeping everybody on the ship going, especially when the computer can't handle all of that.
Say bye to Godfather.
Bye, goddaughter. Bye, Tiff.
Dave says bye, Tiff.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Anyway, so just a couple of things here with there's a couple dance numbers, but I guess they don't have a big they only have the bar and the bridge. Like those are the biggest sets on the ship, and maybe the shuttle bay. Have we seen the shuttle bay? But
no, I don't think.
So it's almost like they didn't have any kind of big sets like to spread out here. Engineering's not bad, but hardly is anyone's ever in this set. 2 or 3 people. And most they're trying to sing it all away, sing away up the emotion. It turns into more and more of a group thing. Kirk jumps into the number here. Everyone's involved.
He says one of the funniest lines in this episode is when Kirk's just like, "I thought it was a thing you guys all rehearsed, but then I started singing too." Wouldn't that be hilarious though? You go on this ship and they just like rehearsed it.
Yeah, they're just like the musical theater crew. Like we know that there's a whole group of humans who are just obsessed with Renaissance fair, right?
That's true.
The Hyperbians, the Hypernians or whatever.
Yeah.
With all those things. So the song, the big number here comes on, and then the Klingons call. Of course, I had to pull this Klingon number. Where is it?
Why have you?
Why you only calling us when you got your dramas? One of these days we'll repay you, we'll stay you. Gonna draw your last breath at the end of my plans.
I don't know, it's pretty bad. Is that like what Drake sounds like?
It's supposed to be.
I don't know. It's pretty bad. No, it doesn't, Murphy. He says the Uhura song rocks. No, Murphy.
The ending of it was good.
Rock. These songs are the most forgettable songs ever.
Most of these songs, I agree, are pretty generic. Although they have there's like these little bits, and I agree. Like if you'd done another pass or a couple more passes on this, you could have really tightened it up. Like
just added a real band or a real orchestra.
A real orchestra would really help.
Have musicians play this. Have musicians play these.
Some of these songs needed to be shortened. We were talking about Buffy earlier too, but I don't know if you ever watched the TV show The Flash. But they did a musical episode. It was also a Supergirl crossover at the time. They had Melissa Benoist there. She was on Glee, and I think Grant Gustin was also on Glee. So they had a lot of people who were strong in that field. They also had Jesse L. Martin from Rent in the cast. They had a ton of people from musical theater. But a couple they didn't just write original songs for that show. A couple times they just used a couple Broadway tunes that were like this will fit into the episode, and let's use this instead.
That's what we were gonna get here.
Yeah,
because Uhura even mentions, "Hey, I wonder if the Fold in Space or whatever likes the American catalog or whatever she says, like American music catalog.
Yeah, the American Songbook or whatever it was.
Yeah, the American Songbook or whatever. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh, so we're gonna get some like classic numbers. I was expecting
that would have been better.
Fontaine tunes. Yes, it would have been.
Yeah, like recognizable songs. That
if
for
you're
them
not
would be
write good tunes. If you're not gonna put any effort into the tunes,
I guess they probably talked about it and they were like trying to figure out what the cost of licensing something versus like creating something new, and they settled on just making their own songs.
They settled on AI.
On AI songs.
Yeah.
On the heel of this writer strike, I think it's maybe got some.
It's gonna be a musician strike next if this is how we're going.
Well, yeah, because like this is not great music. It's okay. It's not as good as Star Trek deserves for its first musical episode. Quite frankly, if you waited,
the last musical episode. Now.
It's almost been 70 years now, right? Or 60 years, maybe. For this,
60 years?
60 years?
20 years?
Times 3?
Oh, 20 years. Times 3?
Times 3. Anyway, so they do the dance here. They save the day. It works. Everything blows up. There's a scene here at the bar after with La'an. Jody's giving 3 out of 10. Well, I think
Murphy with an 8.5.
Okay, well let's get to the ratings. Yeah, there's a scene here with Una and Lon, which I appreciate that they're kind of establishing or reinforcing that they're friends and they talk outside of work or whatever.
This crew is like that. This crew, they're all friends, and you can feel it.
And that's good. You can feel it,
it's
and
like,
that does translate to the screen, just like it did with the Next Gen crew.
And DS9 crew, and
kind of.
The ones who were friends.
Some of them were friends more than others.
Yes, exactly. Like some of them definitely weren't friends.
Avery Brooks not as friendly with everybody.
But even like the Odo Quark thing, they were friends.
In real life, yes. Like I think Nana Visitors seems like she was friends with everybody, but
no, I'm talking about in the show. Like
in the show,
Like Quark and Odo were besties. And you can feel that relationship,
Yeah. What about this relationship between Pike and Marie Patel?
And Pasta Mama? and Marie Patel.
Making Pasta Mama.
Yeah.
That relationship is strong.
They got to be honest about where they don't want to go on vacation together. This seemed like something a man in his 50s would have come to a conclusion on.
What already. A ditherer, though. He's such a ditherer, and she calls him on it. He's just like, she's like, dude, you'll lie to me and like bullshit over like where to go on vacation. What's wrong with you? Like, and he's just like, oh well. I see your point.
This guy has mastered all aspects of being a starship captain, but he kind of sucks at this, not
he really
bad,
sucks at it.
But he could be a lot better. Anyway, so they agree that they're going to be honest with each other, and they gotta get that going.
They're the relationship I like in this show. They're the one romantic relationship I don't cringe at when it's on screen.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
It's fine, and it's not like forced.
Sometimes relationships work and sometimes they don't in Star Trek. Like I think Jadzia and Worf, I think is all our favorites, but some of these don't work as well. Like remember when they tried to put Worf and Deanna together? That didn't work so well.
That did not work well. No, it sure didn't.
Or the time when they put Janeway and Chakotay together for one episode.
You know what? I liked that. That's what I wanted that show to do. Yeah,
they got scared and they ran the other direction. So after that,
that's a shame. No, like the Chakotay 7, that's a bad relationship.
Yeah, actually, that's worse.
That's much worse.
It comes out of nowhere in the 7th season. Yeah. Anyway, so the last little beat of the episode was Uhura was humming and everyone's looking at her and everyone gets annoyed. And she kind of just says sorry, or she kind of gives a look. Pike.
That's a good point, Sam. Sam makes the point the Way to Eden was a musical episode. It kind of was.
Kind of. It's the closest to the. It's closest before this. You're right. Well, although it's just Adam, the hippie guy, who you played in our radio theater version.
I did. And my mic didn't work very well.
It went okay. Yeah, but anyway, so that is that. So let's get into our. I don't know. Is there any trivia to speak of in this episode? Is there any fun facts? I don't think there is. We find out that Patel's name was Marie. James T. Kirk makes mention of his relationship with Kara Marcus and the birth of his son, David Marcus, who will die in search for Spock, and all of
she's
that.
pregnant. There's no birth yet.
Yeah, he hasn't been born yet.
No.
But we know that he will not stick around to raise him. That Carol Marcus will end up going on her own way. Okay, so let's get into the ratings since we do have them here.
Jody says it well here. It was a decent attempt, but the music was subpar. It was, and the story was stupid, and it wasn't enjoyable. That was the problem. It just wasn't enjoyable enough as it should have been.
Yeah, like it just didn't work for me to coming together enough. All right, so let's bring this in. Why isn't it showing?
It just fell apart a bit.
Oh, there we go.
It started off strong.
Okay. Subspace Rhapsody. So who do we have already? We have Jody, 3.5.
Did we not get? Oh, we didn't get the ratings in for Under Cloak of War.
I didn't get your guys' ratings. Yeah.
I
What was
gave
your
it
rating?
an 11. It's a top 5 Star Trek episode ever. It's phenomenal.
I liked it, but I thought it was. I didn't like.
I thought it was perfect.
I thought there was some issues with giving that storyline to Mbenga. I thought and Chapel, who are supposed to be the healers, and
but that's what's great about this show. They're not like these standard like I would never harm a fly Starfleet doctors. They actually feel like real people, and like he became a doctor to like cancel out the red in his ledger, to quote Black Widow. You know?
Yeah,
it makes him super. And what a strong actor he is. He was so good in that episode.
I didn't hate it. I certainly liked it. I just thought I had some reservations with it. But it was
Murphy gave Cloak of War a 10.
He did? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what did he give this? What did he give this episode? Subspace Rhapsody?
8.5.
8.5. Okay. So between Jody and Murphy, we're sitting at a 6. So I'll go next.
Which is what I'm going to give it.
You're giving it a 6? Okay.
Yep.
It's about a 6.
You're going to skew the 6. Yeah, exactly. No, you didn't skew the 6.
And did Adam give us any kind of rating? I don't think so,
No.
right? So we'll have to catch up with him in the future. Cloak of War gave it a 10. Sam gives us an 8.2. So any other comments? This currently has a 6.6 on IMDb with 1,100 votes so far today. So it's only been one day of voting. Directed by Dermot Downs, who I don't think has directed an episode before. He's new. Dana Horgan and Bill Wolkoff wrote this episode.
Davey Perez wrote Under the Cloak of War. Hire that guy some more.
Davey Perez, he's written a few
hire
episodes.
That guy.
He wrote last season. He wrote all those who wander, which we really.
That's a
liked.
good one too. Yeah, man, this guy's the best. Get this Davey Perez writing the whole season, man.
Yeah, he comes in and out. Like he's
and he wrote one there with Bo DeMaio, the writer
What do we
of
think of that?
X-Men
Oh, we gave that.
97.
We gave that a 9.1.
Yeah,
Memento
man.
Mori. Yeah, he seems to write like the war trauma stories and those kinds of things. And
we have another top Star Trek writer here, brother.
Davey Perez, a fellow Davey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so Bill Wolkoff has been co-written a bunch of episodes. And Dana Horgan has also written some episodes.
Oh my God, Davey Perez wrote one with Kirsten Beyer. That's not a good team. What did they come up with together?
That was Among the Lotus Eaters, which I liked and you didn't. So, so we're all over the place here. Okay, so
Kirsten Beyer.
So a 6 on though, and I'm going to call this an Uhura and ensemble episode, but you know.
Sure.
Okay, so all that said, Davan. So we have a 6 on this episode average. And we're sitting at, for the season, an average of 8 out of 10 compared to last season, 8.7 out of 10. So that seems to be
overall not as good, but it's had 2 episodes that are better than anything in season 1.
Now we got one more episode to go. Next week, episode is called Hegemony, which we have speculated.
It's who's it going to be? It's the Gorn.
It's the Gorn.
Oh my God, it's the Gorn.
Yeah.
Been looking forward to this. They've been hyping the Gorn up as this great big bad, and I was like, sweet, that's a awesome choice.
And I guess if that's gonna be season 3, is gonna be this, then great,
be amazing.
And I think that's
Give
the
me
right
a whole
decision.
Season of Under the Cloak of War, but like the Gorn.
The Gorn War.
Yeah, give me the Gorn War. Give it to me. I want it.
Yeah, so I imagine like if any episode is going to feature Pike, it's got to be this one, or maybe it will be a Lon episode. I don't know.
Oh well, it'll definitely have a lot of Lon in it.
I'm sure they'll all be in it. It's the finale, so they'll make sure that all these characters. And I imagine there's going to be more Spock Chapel stuff to at least tie up in the next episode. But yeah, I just think that like I kind of agree with Adam that like the pacing of this season hasn't been as strong. Maybe because we've already got to know these characters, and so now they're just they have less of that to do.
It seemed like less of a cohesive vision. I think they had like a long, probably like years even to sit on their kind of cohesive vision of season 1, and then like that was strong. So like, yay, we get a season 2. Let's cobble one of those together in a few months.
Right. Well, I think it's like in a 10-episode season, you have 2 episodes that are basically gimmick episodes. The crossover with Lower Decks, and now this,
which was good.
Which is good, and better than this. But you had basically like in terms of creating like any kind of cohesive feel. I think having 2 episodes that were sort of out there, I think you need to maybe limit that to 1 in a 10-episode season, because you just don't have as many to play with. Like back in like the old days when it was 26 episodes a season, sure, throw in a couple of these, throw in a musical episode, throw in a cartoon thing. Who cares? They got so much to do, right? So, but in this, like, I think you got to be a little tighter.
I agree.
And this episode in general needed to be tighter. I
mean, this episode or this season needed another Gorn episode. It needed some build up to whatever.
It's the Gorn.
We needed more Gorn build up. Yeah, they're only like, mentioned in past. We got more Klingons this season than we got Gorn.
I'm fine with that. The Klingon's forehead in the last episode looked like plastic. They forgot how to make good Klingons because again, they don't have an orchestra anymore. They don't have Michael Westmore anymore.
No,
like they've lost a lot of the talent they used to have behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's not as they don't have like they had like a full all-star team of people who basically grew up watching the original series and then went on to work on Next Gen, and some of those were the original series people as well who
the costumers were the same.
Yeah, a lot of them did move on from original series to Next Gen, but like people who kind of grew up watching like Okuda and these guys, who went on to work for Star Trek and like in the 80s and 90s. I'm missing like some of the talent they had because I think everyone just wanted to be part of Star Trek back then, Okay, well I think that's our review of this episode. I hope it was enjoyable for you. We'd like to hear all your comments. Make sure to leave them and let us know whether it's tomorrow or many years from now. Whenever you get around to watching this episode and checking what we thought of it at the time, let us know. We'll be sure to respond.
Scaramouche, will you do the Mbenga?
I like it. Do we have anything else going on in Live Long and Podcast right now, Davan, in our science division or everything?
In the science division, what do we got coming up? No, we got to... Look, I'm getting closer to releasing the season finale of Locutors of Trek audio podcast.
I need to get back to doing radio here too. It's been kind of a crazy time. So
probably another Treckle Trunk coming soon. We have 3 new contestants. So Dave, you'll be interested in this. So you and I have risen to the top of Trouble with Trivia. Mostly you, but I'm your closest competitor thus far.
Right.
So you and I have made the next Champions Edition, and we have 3 new competitors never before competed in Trouble with Trivia coming in to hopefully give us a run for our money.
All right, I'm excited. I will always rise to the challenge to defend my honor. Is the champion.
Winner of that one shall face us in the Champions Edition.
They may challenge for my glory and my honor, but they will be saddened.
They want to strip the honor from your house, Dave.
I can't allow that.
You can't allow
I cannot. It may
That's
not.
my house as well.
Will
I can't
not.
allow that
Yes.
either.
So,
I can't let you have the honor.
I can't let you or me dishonor the house. So
no.
All of those things. Yes. So check out our in the future for the Live Long and Podcast, future podcast. Also, we're going to be getting back to our Star Trek Enterprise podcast. I think next Monday, we're starting up again. We're doing season 4, getting into season 4, episode 1, and so on to finish up that show.
It's the good stuff. I'll be
Going
showing
back
up
and
on
looking
for
at all
some
those
of
episodes.
those.
Yeah, and Deep Space Nine. I'm not sure if it will be next week, but in the near future, we will start up our Deep Space Nine. We got to do season 7 of Deep Space Nine and review those episodes. So,
I will say though, we do have that this month, even a couple weeks. Our interview with Derek Tyler Attico coming up.
The writer of that Cisco novel,
Cisco autobiography, which I'm looking very forward to. Everyone, go get your pre-orders of the hard copy on Amazon or wherever. That's where I got mine.
Yeah, I would like to listen to the audio version probably.
I don't know. That'll probably be down the road at some point. But the audio version of the Garrick novel, get that. That's out.
Yeah, Andrew Robinson
the other
reading
day.
it. That's got to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yep.
I want to check that out too. Gotta get that on. But also, we're very busy here, and we're part of a greater federation of podcasts known as the United Federation of Podcasts. That features me and Davan and many other great podcasters. Like one channel we have is called Super Mater Brothers Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We are brothers!
And last night we started our review of Big Brother USA version season 25. It's going to be going on for 14 weeks. 14 weeks and 100 days, Davan, and many podcasts.
Sounds exciting. Jeff
and I were on. Jaemeel eventually joined us from Jamaica, and then Foster will be joining us in the near future. Plus, we got Survivor coming up, and also we got there it is. The Mary Mater Marvel Society Secret Invasion is coming up this Sunday. We're going to be talking about Secret Invasion as we've been going through and reviewing each MCU installment ever since WandaVision.
How much did you love it?
I can't spoil it. I'm going to give it to you all at once.
You can't give it out now.
No. It's not free. You got to earn it on Sunday. And I will tell you exactly what I thought about it. So check that out here on the Super Mater Brothers podcasting channel. Plus, Davan, you got yours X-rated along with Andre Mayette. Talk about X-Men the Animated Series.
The foremost X-Men the Animated Series podcast in the world.
I think it absolutely is.
We're into season. We just finished the Phalanx Covenant Part 2, an amazing two-parter, which was kind of a part of season 4 in the old order, but in the reorder of things. Now we've reached the point where the animation's going to drop off a cliff a bit, so it's going to get interesting. And we have an interview coming up with the voice of Nightcrawler, Aid Huff, so check that out.
Oh, good.
We recently did an interview with the voice of Mr. Sinister, Chris Britton, so check that out too. And all our other past interviews with the creators of this wonderful cartoon and reboot series, or not follow-up series. It's not a reboot. It's follow-up.
Follow-up, a sequel.
Yeah, a sequel.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I can't wait to hear the Nightcrawler one. Andre Mayette has the Graphic Histories podcast.
Yep. Just had an interview with Steve the Dude Rude.
That's a great name.
Eisner Award-winning artist of some renown. Quite a lot of renown, in fact.
Oh, excellent.
Eisner Awards for renown.
Other podcasts in the network include Hold Up, a movie podcast with Davan and Murphy every second Wednesday. Talk about 3 movies in a theme.
We do. We in the Upholders. We'll have Adam Woodward on the next one for Prehistory, where we will review Quest for Fire, A Man from Earth, and 65.
I don't know any of those movies. I've never heard of any.
You've never seen The Man from Earth? That's a good one. You should check that out.
No, I'll have to check that out.
It's got a lot of Star Trek people in it. John Billingsley, Tony Todd.
Well, maybe I'll have to bring it out and because I have a series on this channel on the Live Long and podcast. It was I've only done one review installment. It was called Star Trek Actors in Questionable Movies, and we just talked about.
That one.
We did Masters of the Universe because it had Tom Paris in it. What's his real name? Robert Duncan McNeil. So so we talked about that. I'm meaning to do another one, so we could do that.
That's a good
also,
one.
We got the Hellbound podcast with Alex Blackburn and Michael Chan. I think it comes out Wednesdays. They talk about horror. If you like horror and all those kinds of things, check that out.
On a hiatus, but they'll be back.
And Trivial Debates. I don't have that graphic for some reason, but that's
It's down there.
Is it?
It's down at the bottom there somewhere. Yep, there's one.
Oh,
the old
there he was. That's our most recent Pride Edition episode.
Yeah. The general logo, I don't know if I haven't seen it.
And lastly, also coming up this Sunday, not just our Secret Invasion review, but we're going to be talking with Eamon Mater, my son, Eamon on Track. We're going to be reviewing the album by the Bee Gees. It's called One Night Only from 1998, and it's in tribute to my mother, Beth Mater, who passed away 2 weeks ago tonight. And it was her. We asked her what her favorite album was, and she said this. And I've been listening to it. Well, again, I don't want to spoil it. I got to save it for Sunday, but pretty good.
I've been listening to it as well.
Not bad. Very poignant. I think she was very. She picked that very specifically, and I think there's a lot we're going to talk about on Sunday. So make sure to check that out. Okay. The Opus episode of Trivial Debates is going to be the next one. That's awesome.
Someone making soup.
Soup. Well, I have to head to Hockey Town, so that's not really a soup thing. But we will see you next time here on Live Long and Podcast. Let's go out on one of these tunes. I think we'll have to. Jeez, Chapel.
Yeah.
All right.
I worked so hard for this, and now the fellowship sees me as one of their own. The sky is the limit, my future is infinite with possibilities.
See you next time.